summer ceasefire in the 30-year war between Ford and Holden is about to come to an end. The big guns are ready to fire in the opening round of the 1996 Shell Australian Touring Car Championship at Sydney's Eastern Creek Raceway. The nation's premier 10-top series moves into full battle mode with new cars, new faces and an exciting new race format. Boosting Ford's frontline troops is 1980 World Formula One champion Alan Jones, who launched his new Queensland-based Falcon team last Tuesday. In response to his 1000 winner, Larry Perkins has boosted Holden's strength, expanding to a two-car Castrol team with Bathurst co-driver Russell Engel. This year's ban on tobacco advertising also threatened to close down two of the country's top teams. But former champions Glenn Seaton and Mark Scaife have both returned for active duty, with leaner but no less meaner operations in 1996. Tonight's championship opener also sees some exciting new faces in the V8 ranks. Craig Lowndes, Paul Romano, Stephen Ellery and second-generation star Stephen Richards are just some of the new names keen to rattle touring cars' old guard in 1996. Tonight, for the first time in Shell Series history, the fire-breathing V8s do battle under lights on a specially shortened Eastern Creek layout designed for maximum action. The new L-shaped track cuts the total circuit length from 3.9 to just 2.8 kilometres. Also new for 96 is a reduction in practice time, a switch to 3 20-minute races and just 2 sets of tyres allowed for each car. The teams and drivers which can best adapt to these dramatic changes will tonight reap the reward. It's time. Can reigning champion John Bowe defend Ford's hard-won crown, or can Holden level the score in the V8 war? The battle lies ahead.
Hello and welcome to the Shell Series Touring Car Blast-Off for 96. It has been a blazing hot day here in Sydney's West and the V8 Brigade promise performance to match. In fact, the 95 Touring Car champion John Bowe, now carrying #1 saddlecloth for the Dick Johnson Shell FAI Falcon team, has topped the qualifying with a lap time of 61.32, ahead of Holden's Peter Brock and Glenn Seaton for Ford credit. In fact, Falcon and Commodore alternate through the top 10 positions on the grid. Well, the heat is going to play a factor here, there is no doubt about that. And with the new regulations, the new race format and the new tyre regulations in place, it's going to leave the teams with a lot of hard decisions to make. Let's find out what they're going to do as we join Mark Osler and Brad Jones.
Yes, indeed, Gary Wilkinson. There are a number of new changes to the 96 Championship, and coming aboard this year to try and help us explain it is an old pal of ours and an all-rounder in the touring cars, Brad Jones. Welcome aboard.
Thanks very much, Mark. Great to be here.
Now, what can we make of these new regulations? 8 tyres only per car, 3 20-minute races. What are the teams got to try and do?
Well, now we only have 2 choices of tyres for the 3 heats, so it's imperative to get it right. The last race is going to be critical, and that's where all the action will be.
There you go, expert comment from Brad Jones. And Bradley joined us earlier in the day for the Privateers Cup, which is held for the privateer teams. And indeed, it was a great start by Steve Reed, who got away very quickly. But Kevin Heffernan also made a great start, but managed to lose it on turn 2. It was also a good start by Richards and Finnegan, who had a terrific battle for 3rd and 4th positions throughout the race. Richards, meanwhile, opened up a bit of a gap as he tried to track down Reed. But as we came toward the finish of the race, Richards got very close, but he just couldn't quite close the gap to Reed. So it was Reed who won the race ahead of Richards, and then a gap back to Crick and Terry Finnegan in 3rd and 4th position. Great race there from the Privateers. Well, there's a lot of established stars and a lot of new faces here in 1996. Here's Andy Raymond with one of the new guys.
Yeah, names like Brock, Johnson and Perkins have been around the game quite a while and are still at the top of their game. Many of them are getting a scare from the young guns, one of whom joining me now, Craig Lowndes, 4th fastest qualifier. Nice way to debut.
Thanks, Andy. Yeah, it's a good way to start the season. Like, this is only 3 races of 30, so hopefully we can get through this weekend with the car that's still intact, and we can go on from there.
And qualifying and a bit of practice this morning, you were 2nd fastest. Do you enjoy the hot weather?
It's not too bad. It's the same for everybody. I've done a bit of training over pre-season, so hopefully that'll come in my favour. But the race is going to be tonight. We had a run last night, and the cars run a little bit nice with the nights, a little bit crisp air. So we're looking for a good night.
We wish you all the best. Craig Lowndes, starting from position number 4. Let's have a look at the full grid.
Let's see how they line up in round 1, race 1 of the 1996 Shell Australian Touring Car Championship. There he is, the hot lap specialist John Bowe on pole, 101.33, with Peter Brock alongside him, a Ford Holden front row. Row 2, Glenn Seaton, the new Ford Credit Falcon, with Craig Lowndes, car 15, alongside him.
Row number 3 consists of Tony Longhurst and Wayne Gardner in the Coca-Cola Commodore. Row 4, Alan Jones and Neil Crompton.
Out of row 5 is Dick Johnson in the Shell Falcon with Mark Scaife alongside him in the Gibson Motorsport Commodore. Row 6, Russell Ingle in the Castrol Commodore with teammate Larry Perkins alongside him.
Row number 7, newcomer Stephen Richards in the Valvoline entry, and the top privateer, car number 3, Steve Reed. Row 8 is Stephen Ellery and Paul Romano.
Row 9 is the Sony Commodore of Terry Finnegan with Greg Crick in the Alcare example alongside him. David Parsons in the Freightliner Holden and Mark Larkham in the Mitre 10 Ford.
Row number 11, the Price-Act Commodore of Kevin Heffernan with Wayne Russell. Row 12, Bob Pearson and John Cotter.
Plenty of V8s here. Row 13, the back row, John Trimble in the Ostjet Aircraft Charter Falcon with Gary Wilmington in the Wilmington Performance Ford. Well, the heat is on at Eastern Creek Raceway, and it's about to get an awful lot hotter when they unleash the V8s in just a few moments' time. Meanwhile, here's the Eastern Creek logo flying in on a giant flag up in the skies on this beautiful hot day in Sydney. Touchdown almost due for the flag, and we're almost due for blast-off in Heat 1. 5 seconds now till the start of Heat 1. It's going to be a critical run into Turn 1 here at Eastern Creek this afternoon. Revs rise. John Bow and Peter Brock on the front row of the grid. Away they go. Brock gets a sensational start. The grandstand are on their feet. Brock gets a real run down the outside. A huge pack of V8 swinging into Turn 1, and it's Brock in control as they head down toward Turn 2, leaning on each other. Massive number of V8s here up toward Turn 2. Dust flying everywhere. It's Brock in command with the Coca-Cola Commodore in second. Bow got shoved back to third there. Craig Lowndes is Brocky's teammate, 5th or 6th as they shuffle through Turn 2 and head up toward the flashback.
One of the Castrol Commodores, in fact, it was Larry Perkins, the Tooheys 1000 winner, and we've got a moment further back in the pack. Peter Brock leads. A fantastic start to Wayne Gardner as the Finnegan Sony audio sound car makes its way back onto the track.
So Peter Brock, tremendous start from the outside. They often say pole position at Eastern Creek is on that outside where the racing rubber's laid down. Brock certainly took advantage of it in 05, but he's got the Coke Commodore. Wayne Gardner right up behind him. A great start from the former world motorcycle champion. John Bow back in third position. There's Crompton in fourth. Another great start from the Coke car with Lowndes right up behind him. Very close, very torrid action here, Bradley Jones.
It is. There's plenty happening. I was talking to Brock earlier on today, and he's very determined to win the race. He's going all out. But he's got Gardner right on him. This will turn into be a tyre war of sorts, and the Dunlop's a performer very early on. It'll be interesting to see how the race goes on.
Well, certainly will, knowing the performance of the Bridgestones over the years. Of course, Brock running Bridgestone tyres, they take a while to come in, but boy, aren't they durable, particularly in hot weather conditions.
They are. 3 laps you usually have to do before you can get the speed out of them, where the Dunlop is there right from the start. It's interesting, even though these cars look the same, underneath they're just so different you couldn't believe.
So they come through the switchback there, wheel up in the air as Brock crests the rise. The car gets all light, bounces off the curb there, building up to about 190 kilometres an hour as they swing into Turn 5, or the new Turn 5 on this shortened circuit. Gardner in second position, really pasting the back bumper of the mobile car. He's right on top of him. It'll be interesting to see if he can last for this first 20-lap heat.
Peter Brock won't want to leave it too long before the Bridgestone set in, because Gardner from position number 6 is up to 2 and is looking for a way past as they head down the main straightaway. Once again, the crowd going berserk. The favourite is out in front. Glenn Seaton has dropped well back in the field to about 7th after starting in 3rd, so a disappointing start for a new sponsor in the Seaton team.
Well, he's Mr. Popularity, Peter Brock. Most successful driver in Australian Touring Car Championship history. 35 victories from 189 starts. 50 years of age, and the man is still right on the pace.
Car number 1, John Bow, has come from nowhere. He missed the start from pole position. Gardner got past, and all of a sudden, the number 1 Shell FAI Ford Falcon is back in the race.
We take race cam with Peter Brock aboard Mobile 05. Man hard at work, maximum concentration here, working at the wheel. Looks like a very physical sort of track, Brad Jones.
It certainly is, and you can notice just behind him there's a little esky. I'm not sure whether that's for a cool suit. I say it would. They fill it up full of ice water and it actually runs through tubes. It just cools your body down. Larry Perkins was saying earlier it's like 55 degrees inside these cars today, so you certainly need something to keep you cool.
Okay, 3 laps down in this 20-lap battle. It's still Brock in control. Gardner in second. Bow starting to close the gap to the Coca-Cola Commodore in 3rd position. Then we've got Craig Lowndes, the sensational qualifying at Bathurst last year. He's had a very controlled build-up to this race, and here he is in 4th position, looking good.
A three-way dance at the moment, but Lowndes is looking to party. He's moved right up on the back end of the FAI Falcon. down towards what is being termed the flip-flop, and Gardner a little off course there, and Bow right up on the backside. He knows every scratch on the back of the Coke Commodore.
Keeping in mind these really high temperatures, Bradley, is the idea here to try and conserve your tyres, or in 20 minutes you just haven't got time to do that?
Well, you really haven't got time. These guys will be, throwing caution to the wind. The idea at the start of the race is to try and save the tyres a little bit and drive the car as straight as you can. And of course, once the light turns green, you're just, fighting for survival. So they're all pressing on as hard as they can, and they won't think about their tyres until they get it to the end of the race.
Big roar from the crowd. Brock opens it up a couple more tenths. They come across the start-finish line. 4 laps down. He's just put in a 1:02.25. Fair way off the qualifying pace yesterday, but very quick considering these hot conditions. There's Glenn Seaton coming right into the action, right up behind Crompton. This is the battle for 5th and 6th.
A good battle it is at that, and Seaton again searching on the inside for some racing room. We're looking out of the Glenn Seaton car. That is Neil Crompton right ahead. 7 Sport Race Cam bringing in the action as they head down towards the flip-flop. There's the leading group up ahead. Very sharp left and right. That's where it just drops away, Brad Jones.
It does. It's a very tricky part of the circuit there. I'm just watching the back of Crompton's car. It looks to be working quite nicely. I mean, I thought the Coke team probably went for a bit of a safe option on tyres today, and that's why they qualified a little further back, but they're certainly up amongst it at the moment.
And we guess with only 8 tyres to chop and change between 3 heats, these guys may be looking much stronger as the day progresses.
Well, hopefully they will.
Here comes John Bow, meanwhile, sorry Bradley, but Bow down the inside of Wayne Gardner. They're side by side, 260k into turn 1, and Bow sneaks through.
Gardner will be looking to come back down the inside here.
So Gardner gets shuffled back. Very tidy move by Bow. Oh, Bow has quite an unusual line in there. He goes straight across the apex of the corner and almost turns on the spot.
He does, and you also notice that the Falcon of Bow's is smoking quite badly, and I'm not quite sure what that is. I mean, they're so precise with the amount of fuel these cars use nowadays that you wouldn't think that it'd have an overrun of fuel. Maybe there's something else.
5 laps down, quarter distance gone. They'll complete 6 as they come around this time. Look at Craig Lowndes, 21-year-old sensation, getting his big chance with the Holden racing team this year. A lot of pressure on his shoulders.
There certainly is, and if you're involved in a battle with Wayne Gardner, you know you're going to have a fight on your hand.
Well, Craig, he's one of the young lions. He's been tagged a 1-lap specialist, people say. So he's got a lot of pressure to prove he's got the racecraft as well. Look how close he is behind Wayne Gardner's car. Pulls out of the draft, has a look down the inside, coming up to turn 1. Oh, you could have sliced a bit of cheese between those two.
Certainly playing for keeps, aren't they?
So Lowndes, a great move on Gardner there. Gardner shuffled back 2 positions in the space of 2 laps. So now it's a Bridgestone shot car at the front. Dunlop car and another Bridgestone sandwich. We take Seaton's race cam, that battle we were looking at before for 5th and 6th. He's actually passed Neil Crompton while all action was going on. So now it's Brock, Bow, Gardner in 3rd. Sorry, Gardner in 4th, Crompton in 6th, and Seaton moves up to 5th, so that's the top 5.
You saw Craig Lowndes there, the front 2 wheels airborne. This youngster certainly on a mission as he hones in on the rear end of one John Bow, the defending series champion. There's Lowndes, you can see right ahead of him, John Bow, and off a little bit in the distance is Peter Brock. How dearly HRT would love a 1-2 to start 1996 with.
Well, you can see this striking new paint job, Andy. Over the off-season, they've got a new driver. They decided to freshen up the paint job as well. Quite a striking bit of paintwork there with the Holden Lion now on the front fender. But Brock showing a clean pair of heels too. He's opened it up 2.1 seconds now. The gap over John Bow in 2nd position, Lowndes in 3rd, Gardner in 4th, Seaton now up to 5th, and Crompton in 6th. And I guess we can expect Glenn Seaton to start making a few inroads too, Brad.
I think you can. You'll find that the 3 Bridgestone cars are probably all on exactly the same tyre compound. The case construction on the front of the Ford is slightly different, and obviously that's what you need at the moment. You watch Craig's car as opposed to John Bow's car at the moment, and the Dunlop chute car is just moving around. I know that the Dunlop runners have sort of gone for a very marginal tyre compound mix, and hopefully it's going to be right.
Could pay the price later on in the evening. It's interesting to look at these times too. Both Gardner and Crompton slipping up into the 63, 64 second bracket with everyone else running in the 2s. Those tyres could be giving them trouble already. So 8 laps down as they cross the start-finish line this time around. Bow coming under pressure from Craig Lowndes. He's really making up some territory on the reigning champ. Brock still in control, 2.1 the gap that time around, so it hasn't grown. Wayne Gardner back in fourth, Seaton in fifth. Boy, it's close and tight stuff at the front here. Lowndes tries to find his way through.
You get the feeling Craig Lowndes has been eyeing off exactly what John Bow's been doing in that sharp left-hand corner. And Lowndes just playing and experimenting. Not a good start to the year for Mark Larkham in the Mitre 10 car. Do they sell barbecues at Mitre 10? Because we've got one under the Larkham car.
Well, he may well have run over a curb there. With all that smoke coming out of the missing front spoiler section, Brad, he may have run over one of these shark teeth curbs.
I'd say probably dumped a little bit of oil on the circuit and has just slidden off across a curb or over something and damaged the front of the car. It's a pity. They put a lot of work into the Mitre 10 car, hoping for a much improved year this year, and it's not the way they wanted to start, I'm sure.
Craig Lowndes currently the fastest man on the circuit. He's just done a 62 dead. As he looks down the outside of Bow, this time Bow moves across to cover his territory. He's a good defensive driver, isn't he?
Well, I'd say Craig is just learning why John Bow is the current champion and how hard he is to pass. JB is known as the hardest bloke in the business to get around, and Craig's probably just experiencing that firsthand.
And with Brock, Brock.
That's Brock's come off. At turn 2, we did. Goodness me, a big cloud of dust. Brock seemed to be running on his own. There may have been a lap car involved there, Brad, but it doesn't look like it.
I was just about to say, Brock, looked to have everything so well under control. He was having a glance once or twice a lap, so he had a nice buffer. But he's obviously just gone in just a little bit too deep there. It's a very tricky corner, and off he's gone.
Peter Brock back to fifth as we have a look exactly what happened. And it even happens to the master on occasions.
Could he even locked a brake or got off on the marbles there a bit?
Without going through the whole thing again, it looks like he's come in there, locked the front brake a little bit, and he's just had to get off it, and it's spun.
Okay, here's his teammate, Craig Lowndes. The grandstand get to their feet. As Lowndes now hones in on second position, he's got the leader in his sights, right up behind the shell number 1.
Fastest man on the track is up into fourth. The name Seaton in the forward is closed right in on Wayne Gardner. So two fantastic battles again. Two completely different cornering strategies.
Fabulous run from Craig Lowndes. Indeed, Andy. His opening round of the Touring Car Championship.
Johnson into the pits.
Oh, wretched luck for Dick Johnson. Not a good start to the season.
Straight into the garage, not a good sign.
So Lowndes all over the bumper of car 1. Now, Brad, I know how hot it is when you're running in behind another car in front. How would his temperatures be under control at the moment if he sits in behind that close?
But no, I think they'd be fine.
Okay, let's look at the way they're running at the moment. Bauer, of course, in control with Lowndes right behind him. Wayne Gardner back in third position. Seaton moving up to fourth. And Peter Brock back in fifth position. We'll be back with you in just a moment. 7 laps to go. Bow still in control, but coming under enormous pressure here from Craig Lowndes. And Seaton's getting a first-class view, Brad Jones.
He is, but I'll tell you, I think Glenn's got a little bit of a problem here. You notice he's ducking to the opposite side of the road as that Glenn is on going down the straight, so he could be having temperature problems, and that being the case, when he gets a little closer here, he's going to have to get past them quickly, or he could end up boiling his engine.
We'll talk about getting closer. Look how close he is onto the back of the Mobile Commodore.
We've seen that with Glenn Seaton, in fact, last year here, and at the Triple Challenge, as well as Bathurst. So maybe it's a regular occurrence on the Seaton car, but I can assure you of one thing, Glenn Seaton's not aiming to sit behind these two for very long.
Well, Glenn's been working very hard on his engine development over the break. He's confident he had that all cured and had a little bit more horsepower, but as Bradley Jones observed there, ducking out of the slipstream, maybe having some engine temperature problems, and it is incredibly hot here this afternoon.
This will also put a bit more pressure on Craig. He's not only got to try and find a way around John Bow, he's got to stop Glenn Seaton from getting around him at the same time.
Glenn Seaton has constantly been in the 61-second category. They're heading down the main straightaway. Yet again, they go across the strike. It is Bow, Lowndes, Seaton,
There's Wayne Gardner. Yep.
The battle a little bit further back. There's Peter Brock, who was leading the race. Mark Scaife one behind him. Neil Crompton in the Coca-Cola Commodore. And Alan Jones, Pack Leader Racing, their touring car debut. 3 Castrol cars, the Longhurst, Ingle and Perkins entries.
Meanwhile, Glenn Seaton here giving Channel 7 viewers a perfect view of the action. Lowndes just moved over to cover his tracks a little bit there, and I believe the drivers too, Bradley, are a bit concerned about these tyres that are very close to the rubbing strips on the S's there.
They are a bit concerned. They're all chained together, so they're worried if they hit one, they'll drag them all along the road with them.
So it's certainly keeping them disciplined through that part of the circuit. They said it to be single file through there, and it's certainly proved that way so far. Craig Lowndes
Holdens.
Is he just sitting here behind John Bowe ready to pounce?
I don't think so.
Does he have no answer?
And he's certainly having heating problems as well.
So look at that. Lowndes jumps out of the draft behind John Bowe. He's running in nice fresh air. Lowndes tries to drop the temperatures down a little bit. Seaton right up behind the Mobile Commodore. 5 laps to go with 3/4 distance. Time running out for Craig Lowndes.
Time also running out for Glenn Seaton, and one guy who's made a miraculous recovery is Wayne Gardner. Seaton now looking right down the inside.
Hey, you know this little part of the circuit they're coming into now? You listen to Seaton's car? The engine revs die down there. What he's doing is he's short shifting the car. He's going from 2nd to 4th gear to try and keep the throttle on to get the power down to the ground so we can close in on Craig a little bit for this part of the circuit.
Glenn Seaton will want to be nice and gentle on the gears after last year, snapping a gear stick halfway through the second heat.
He's always been very quick here, Andy. A tremendous success rate for Seaton. Here's Tony Longhurst living into the pitch. You can hear, I think it was the front spoiler scraping on the concrete. Yeah, damage to the front of the Castrol Falcon. Not a good start to season 96 for Tony. His brand new Castrol Racing Falcon EF. Wheels coming off. So there's some front end damage here possibly. Meanwhile, back at the front, John Bowe still in control. 4 laps to go. Lowndes running out of options. The same too for Seaton. If you were running in 3rd position here, Bradley, where would you be looking to overtake? I guess this is the only opportunity down turn 2.
Almost anywhere, I'd say. It's a very difficult thing. Glenn's starting to get aggressive. I think he's going to hit that thing in a minute.
You think it might be a bit of a tap on?
I think that things are going to get a bit desperate. To top it off, you've got the Coca-Cola car closing in as well, so it's going to become a 4-way dice in a minute.
If any of these guys looked in the rear vision mirror, they'd be able to see the whites of the eyes and the driver right behind them. There is not much separating the leading 4 cars.
Tremendous racing here from the V8s. Keep in mind too, last year before Bathurst, they trimmed 200mm from the front spoiler under tray on the front of the Falcons, and they were confident that it had closed the parity gap. And certainly looking at this racing, this bumper to bumper run amongst the top 5 is just fantastic.
Gardner is the fastest car on the circuit at the moment, so he's certainly making inroads.
As you can see there on the back of race cam of Glenn Seaton's car, Gardner closing the gap, 3 laps to go. So, Bowe in control, Lowndes still in 2nd. Looks like Seaton's powerless to do anything in 3rd. Gardner now coming back toward the last few laps of the race. 3 laps to go. Hard under brakes. Glenn Seaton has a look down the inside of Craig Lowndes' Commodore. Boy, he's getting close there, Brad.
Yep, he's touching him. And Bowe's just showing us why he is the champion. I mean, controlling the race beautifully from the front. Hasn't put a foot wrong. Certainly isn't in the fastest car out there at the moment, but winning the race.
Well, he really is a guy at the height of his powers, isn't he? We saw this all through last year. Tremendous pressure driving when there's enormous pressure to defend his lead, and he's done it immaculately. He's doing it here again this year. You're seeing a driver at the absolute peak of his career, John Bowe.
And the parity between the cars is quite good. Forget for a second they're all on different tyres. We've got a Ford, Holden, and there's certainly nothing between the 4 of them.
Well, Holden guys trying to level up the score in the V8 war. 2 laps to go. It's currently running at 2-1 in Ford's favour. Big year for Holden. And big year for this man, Wayne Gardner. 2 years in the tough V8 circuit. They haven't won around yet, the Coca-Cola team, and they're very confident this year that they can change that and get up onto the podium. Let's hope so. Wayne Gardner in 4th position. Bowe, Lowndes and Seaton ahead of him. Well, following each other around here, I think it's going to be a bit of a desperate or a bit of a tap if there's going to be any change of positions here, Brad.
Well, yes, I think you're right. It's certainly going to have to be a bit of push and shove, I think, to get by. The only passing move is at turn 2, and they just, they all run around the inside there, so they're going to have to duck and weave and maybe tickle one another up to get by.
Well, look at the amount of ground Gardner's made up on here. He dropped back into the 63 and a half second bracket. Oh, someone's got to wheel off in the dust. Desperate stuff there. But Gardner's come right back into the 62s. It's almost like he's resuscitated the tyres and come back into the battle.
Which is unusual. Dunlops aren't traditionally like that. But it's exactly what's happened. They've done a lot of work on the car over the summer, and it's working perfectly at the moment.
Last lap as we take race cam at the back of Glenn Seaton's Falcon. There's Wayne Gardner closing in. It's getting tight at the top. This leading quartet. We've got Peter Brock back in 5th, Skaith in 6th. Then it's Crompton, Jones, Ingle and Perkins. That's the top 10. less than 2.8 kilometres to go as they head down toward turn 2 for the final time. Gardner gets a little bit closer under brakes. You can hear Seaton working back through the gears, flame belching from the exhaust of the Coca-Cola Chevy. Very close here, but as we've seen on previous laps, Brad, really is going to take someone else to make a mistake.
Well, it definitely is. I don't think John Bowe has too much to worry about from here on in. He just keep his nose clean at the front and pick up the first race.
And the big question then will be, you can win one heat, then you've got another 2 to go a bit later in the day, and of course later on this evening. And tyres are going to be critical in that final race. Look at Lowndes. He's not giving up without a fight. Ducks out from behind the Shell 1 Falcon. But there's not a lot he can do. Bowe, masterful display here of defensive driving. Covering all the track that Lowndes needs to be. If he gets a nice clean run out of here, he's home. And let's see if Lowndes tries to make one desperate run, get up behind the wing of the Shell Falcon. There's 4 in a row. The grandstand's at their feet. Lowndes looks to duck alongside. They're going mad, but Bowe has him covered by barely a car length. Fantastic race. The opening heat of the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship for 1996. Well, fabulous bit of racing there. John Bowe picking up where he left off in 95. Craig Lowndes, great run there in 2nd position. Glenn Seaton in 3rd. Wayne Gardner in 4th. And Peter Brock rounded out the 5. We'll be back with more action from the creek in just a moment.
Yes, the thrills and spills of Space Probe 7, one of the main attractions at Australia's Wonderland, which is just down the road, in fact, from Sydney's Eastern Creek Raceway, one of the great attractions in Sydney's West. You know, Australian motorsport has been dominated by for too long, and that is going to change in 1996 with the advent of the Mazda Challenge, a series exclusively for women drivers, and they're all driving identical Mazda 121. So one of the leading lights of this first round, Kylie Walden, welcome to the big game.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I think it's a great step for women. I think that hopefully we'll get a couple of good women drivers out of this round this year, and hopefully we'll lead to bigger and better things in the touring cars or open wheelers.
Now, of course, you're a second-generation racer. Your father, Gary, of course, one of the leading drivers in production car racing in Australia, and a former winner of the Bathurst 12-hour. Has he given you any advice?
Basically, go out, don't hit anybody, and stick to yourself and drive your own race. And we're in it to win points, not to win today as your first, because it is my first race, and everybody's driven a lot. So just basically go out there and get all the points I can. Bit of sound advice from Dad there. Gary Wilkinson, tell us the grid.
Thank you, Marco. So just about set to go. In premier position in car 20, Paula Estreck. In the front row of the grid with her, Kylie Walden. We've just heard from Kylie, Tanya Golson. Plenty of experience there in car 2 on the second row of the grid, sharing that row with Melinda Price in car 96. Then Karen Brewer, Carolyn Peterson share the next row, Wendy Gibbs and Megan Kirkham. And then Joanne O'Brien, Carolyn Jackson on the 5th row, and away they go.
13 Mazda 121s in total. Ladies at the helm. 8 laps of the journey. On their first outing here on the 2.81 kilometre revised Eastern Creek circuit.
Kylie Walden in front early. In car number 15.
And already a challenge for Melinda Price in the 96 car. A wide berth.
On the first left-hander, but Price is your race leader. Car number 15, as we said, Kylie Walden, who Gary seemed quite confident a little earlier on with Mark Osler.
Yeah, very confident indeed. Well, she's had a pretty good tutor in Gary Walden. I would have seen Gary run his first race many, many years ago, and it's hard to believe that he's now got a 21-year-old daughter in the hot seat in motorsport as well.
Melinda Price, our race leader, a student aiming for a Master of Science, a former go-karter. She's raced in the Pulsar Triple S production cars, the James Hardy 12-hour and the Winton 6 hours.
She had a car, I think, at Winton a couple of years back with Stephen Richards. So, again, a wealth of experience, although not a lot of exposure to motorsport, at least televised motorsport, in the last couple of seasons.
Challenge now on the inside as they head down to complete lap 1. Paula Elstrick, the pole sitter in car number 20. lap times around 1 minute 37. A hot day here at Eastern Creek, and the girls no doubt feeling the pinch. Oh, and we've got one sideways, the first moment in the Mazda 121 Challenge.
Carolyn Peterson in car number 12. Oh, hello, 01 as well, joining in the action.
That's not my wife, is it? That's how she drives.
No, that's Karen Brewer.
And a dust of smoke is what remains, and probably 3 or 4 cars paying the penalty just at the end of the main straightaway.
04, Wendy Gibbs also involved in that mix-up, so we've lost 3 or 4 cars, as we said in a replay. 02 may have escaped the worst of the damage there.
Karen Brewer there in the Shell Helix 01 car. Tanya Golson in car 2. I think you'll find Carolyn Peterson in the number 12 car, also part of that one.
I know what's going through their minds. The key word here is survival. This is the first outing for this category. It's been long awaited, and most of these girls want to get through unscathed. There's a couple that won't be able to boast that.
Gary, these leading 3, Melinda Price, Walden and Elstrick, have really blown out from the rest of the field. I would suggest the best part of perhaps 250 metres in just 2 laps, and already times are down to about 1 minute 27.
Well, on paper they had the experience on many of the others, but there are some good up-and-coming steerers in this category for the girls. Cassandra Crisp, who's a cadet journalist with Auto Action, trying to get some first-hand experience at some of the things that she has to write about for the magazine.
Here's Elstrick in the number 20 car, the white Mazda 121, side by side with Walden, the 2 touch. The girls having a little bit of fun out there at the moment, and it is in fact Kylie Walden in the 15 Shell Helix entry that retains the silver medal position.
Kylie Walden has regained 1 place. She's passed Karen Brewer as they cross the line with 2 laps to go to get back in a 3rd position, so the big 3 are back, but Walden a long way astern now of Price and Elstrick as they begin the last battle to the line. Just a lap and a half remaining.
This one's far from over, and as we've seen over the last couple of laps, we know where Elstrick likes to strike. They'll go over what is being termed the flip-flop, the cut-over section of the course. And Melinda Price, I think you'll stick to right of screen. Don't be surprised to see the number 20 car duck to the inside and prepare for a move as they head towards the right-hander.
She's close enough. Is she good enough? We'll soon find out. Oh, she's right on her tail, so she's got the opportunity here in the last dying moments of this race. 1 lap remaining, so looking for a big surge here from Paula Elstrick. 2 of the most experienced drivers in the field have singled out for the run to the wire.
The Yokohamas have certainly been tested today, Gary. As the 2 head down, they receive the last lap board, and Elstrick on the inside looking for some racing room as they head down the long straightaway into the left-hander. We have a new race leader.
Paula Elstrick hits the front. All she's got to do is stay there for another lap, and that's a big ask because Melinda Price is going to be very, very determined. There are a few opportunities, and only a few, between now and the checkered flag.
Certainly noticeable when the girls jump on the brakes.
They're leaving it a little late into a couple of corners, I've got to tell you.
They certainly are leaving it a little bit late, no doubt. Oh, a major moment.
Takes 2 to tango, and there were 2, and
Kylie Walden again, along with Karen Brewer in the battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th. And Tanya Golson was the driver there that managed to stay out of trouble.
Kylie's been around more times than an old-time waltzer.
1/2 racing lap remaining, and your race leader, Paula Elstrick from Victoria, doing a fantastic job. Has had to do it the hard way, but has shown she could be the lady to beat in this series for 1996.
Well, she's opened up a reasonable gap here now with less than a 1/3 of a lap remaining. In fact, much less than that. And it looks as though she's got a sight set on the checkered flag. I don't know that Melinda Price is going to be able to make up this ground as they come down towards the checker. It waves away the winner, and number 20 takes the prize. Paula Elstreck from Victoria. Congratulations. There they are, the top 5 on the Shell race score in the Mazda 1-to-1 challenge. Paula Elstreck, the winner from Melinda Price. Tanya Golson coming home in 3rd place. Karen Brewer in 4th. Kylie Walden, after all the misadventures, managed to hang on for 5th placing.
With 7 Sports, the Olympic Network, bringing you the 1996 Atlanta Games, the 1998 Winter Olympics of Nagano, Australia's sporting event of the century, the 2000 Sydney Olympics, 2002, the Winter Olympic Games from Salt Lake City, the 28th Olympiad Summer Games in 2004, the Winter Olympics of 2006, and in 2008, the Summer Games of the 29th Olympiad.
Welcome back to Sydney's Eastern Creek Raceway. Shadows getting a bit longer as the day draws on. Just a sample of the huge crowd at Eastern Creek this afternoon. Coming down the road at Australia's Wonderland or at the beach, the zoo.
Golf or whatever, but they've all decided to turn up here at Eastern Creek for the great touring car action. Let's look at the way they line up for race 2 in round 1 here. John Bower, of course, the winner of Heat 1, will take pole position again, keeping in mind that they start from where they finished in the first heat. Craig Lowndes alongside in car 15. Row 2, Glenn Seaton in the Ford Credit Falcon, and Wayne Gardner, great finish that. He'll come up onto line 2. Row 3 is 05, Peter Brock after that spin recovering. Mark Scape alongside him in the Gibson Motorsport Commodore. Row 4, the second of the Commodores, Neil Crompton, and Alan Jones moving up through the field in the pack leader Falcon. And just topping out the top 10, row 5 is Russell Engel and his teammate Larry Perkins. Well, there's the scene. The sun going down in the west. Look at that massive lighting tower there. That'll be illuminating Eastern Creek like you've never seen it before a bit later on this evening.
Young gun Craig Lowndes. Could he be the man to beat, or is it going to be John Bower? 2 from 2. That will lead us into the first turn. Bow second, Gardner after getting a creeper on the starters third. There you can see all 26 of these V8 Fords and Holdens move through to the field. A great start from Lowndes. Bow, Gardner, as I said, early on the jump. Glenn Seaton is in 4th. I think Marco Sluritz Brock in 5th.
Indeed, Andy Raymond, and a great start there from Craig Lowndes. Really got the hammer down, got just the right amount of traction. It was a good drag race between him and Bower for the first 50 or 60 metres. Then he moved across and took the lead, and that's critical on this track, Brad.
It certainly is. It's a bit unfortunate off the start. Gardner jumped early, and they're preparing the black flag for him over there. He was shaking his head as he stopped to start again, so he knew what he was doing wrong, but Lowndes has got it all in front of him here.
Well, boy, this kid is quick. If anything, he's just super fast in the car, and look at the little gap he's opened up on Bow already as they come around the first time around. The grandstand will go crazy here. Lowndes has already got his big support base. Here they go roaring as he comes past. Wayne Gardner in 3rd position. They're holding the black flag out to Gardner, in fact, that first time around. I'm not sure what that infringement is aimed at, but he's going to have to come into the pits. It's a great disappointment for the Coke team.
Well, I guarantee it's jumping to start. You just can't sneak up like that, and he knows what it is, so he'll just do the stop and go and get back to business.
A great battle going on for the minors. Glenn Seaton leading the brigade. There is your race leader, Craig Lowndes.
Whoa!
Brock's off again.
It's Brock again.
And that's a hard hit.
2 times. Oh, there's someone else involved. Scape as well. Dear, oh dear. Brand new car from Gibson Motorsport there. Very badly crumpled. Brock's in there too. And Racecam graphically showed you crunching the wall. Big time. Let's have a look at that again on our Racecam. Scape's in front. Brock goes to the outside to go through turn 2. Back through the gears. We can't really see Scape. Brock's trying to go around the outside. Working pretty hard at the wheel. Everything looks like it's in order here.
Looks like he's going around Skater there.
Was that a contact there, Brad? Yep, bang.
Yep, with the
Seaton. And then crunch. It looks like Scape's hit him right on the side. And Brock is off. He's a passenger now. And crunch.
Wow, look at his head.
Neck, yeah. Just a graphic indication of the G-forces in these things when you hit a wall. Boy.
very disappointing for the Holden racing team, but at least their young gun, their new boy, is out in front and doing a fantastic job.
Brad Jones has said before the race, if this kid gets off the line, they're going to do it very difficult to catch him.
Well, it's true. There's no doubt John Bow was holding him up in that first heat, and now he's got the gap. He's got a nice buffer. He's home and hosed, really. I mean, he just needs to sit there and cruise and try and keep it going nicely. They're all running through here. Bow looked to have a bit of smoke coming out of his car, like a lock bright.
This is an impressive start here too, Bradley, from Alan Jones.
He's currently in position 5 on the racetrack. Gardner has to go to the pit, so he'll move up into position number 4 on the circuit. And how about the lap times of Craig Lowndes?
He's just done a 60.97. That's the new lap record. First time they're racing here, of course, but that's the fastest time so far. So Lowndes really on fire, really opening up 2.1 seconds the gap over Bow that time around.
Bow is the next fastest, and he's over 0.8 of a second in arrears on that single lap.
Here's the brand new pack leader, Falcon. Alan Jones, 2-car team with Paul Romano, backing from the Philip Morris Corporation. Launched the team in spectacular fashion on Tuesday up at the Gold Coast. And boy, it's been a race against time. The second car, in fact, was only completed at 5 a.m. on the launch morning. So they really have had time against them. But this is a pretty good debut, Brandon.
Oh, fantastic. When you consider the small amount of time they've had to get everything ready and the pace that this car is producing, you look at the Coca-Cola car, it's taken them a couple of years to get everything in order. You look at what they're doing now, and it's a fantastic job.
I'll tell you how busy the pack leader team is. They actually got a hairdresser into the shop, lined everyone up, did their hair so they didn't have to miss out on work during the week.
Okay, let's look back at the top 10. There's Seaton in third position. Field streaming through there. Finnegan, first the lap cars. You can see a big jump on the V8s, one after the other, thundering down the main straight here through turn 1. Finnegan, in fact, tremendous start there. I'm mistaken, I thought he was being lapped. He's actually in 8th position. What a fabulous start from the privateer.
Fantastic job he's doing, and here we have the leaders again. Craig very smooth through there. John Bow trying as hard as he can to run him down, but not looking to have too much success.
Shadows lengthening here as the sun goes down. Dick Johnson put a new engine in. Dunlop race cam aboard Shell FAI 17. Engine problem apparently in the first heat. A new one put into the brake. So Johnson back in action and running in 7th position.
Team Johnson were very happy that there was quite a gap between heats. They had a lot of work to do, and Dick doing extremely well. There he is on screen at the moment, screaming down the main straightaway here at Eastern Creek.
His teammate at the moment, John Bow, still holding a gap 2.2 seconds that time around. So Lowndes opened up the lead just a 10th. You can see the sun in the windscreen of the cars as they come through that very quick turn 1 up toward turn 2, and well and truly in the shadows now.
Brad Jones, that wouldn't be a lot of fun at high speed coming into the first corner looking directly into the sun.
Well, it's a tough corner at the best of days, especially not being able to see where you can go. You notice Dick Johnson's got sunglasses on. A few of the guys are gone for dark visors, and it's a pretty tricky part of the circuit.
Here's one of the main players in the 2-car teams this year, Larry Perkins. 2-car Castrol team. He's brought his Bathurst winning co-driver along with him, Russell Engel, in this second Castrol Commodore, a brand new car in Larry's hands. This is in fact the Bathurst winner.
Actually, Russell's in front of the boss at the moment. I don't know if that's that's smart strategically at the first race, but he is doing a very good job. And as you said, it's a proven car. Larry's got the new one, and Russell's pedaling it very, very well.
So Engel in 6th position up ahead of Johnson. The order now, Lowndes opening up 2.4 seconds that time around over Bow. Then it's Seaton, Crompton, Jones. There's Engel just ducking down behind Dick Johnson and Terry Finnegan. As I said, a great start from the Sydney Privateer in 8th position. Meanwhile, back at the front of the pack, here's Craig Lowndes. He's leading a merry dance here. Craig Lowndes well in control. John Bow hanging on in 2nd position. Ben Seaton in the Ford Credit Falcon in 3rd. Head of Neil Crompton in the Coke Commodore. And in the top 5, Alan Jones in the new pack leader racing Falcon EF.
Richards in trouble there. Debut in the
Valvoline Cummins Commodore. Car 32 making his way back onto the track. So hard work out there for Stevie Richards. And while here's Larry Perkins. A lights ablaze on Tony Longhurst's Falcon. Castrol, a big involvement in touring car racing in 1996, Brad.
Certainly have. They've obviously upped the ante. They've got 3 cars running around out there now, and fairly close to being nose to tail. So they're just closing in on Finnegan there, who's doing a fantastic job. Running 8th.
Whoa, it's Bow.
Bow's off.
Well, there was word from the pits. He thought his tyres were pretty tired when he finished that first heat. He may have overcooked it there. That's where Brock went off in the first heat as well.
As Bow came out of the kiddie litter, Team Boss Dick Johnson went hollering by. So generally a disappointing day.
So Bow slips back from his second position. That'll take even more heat off Lowndes. Let's have a look at that again on replay. And he's just lost it.
I'd say it's a fairly similar move to what happened to Brock in the first race. They come in there very quickly and probably just a touch too much rear brake.
Look at this fabulous race cam shot from the front of Larry Perkins' Castrol Commodore, and then this guy doing a miraculous job in front of him, Terry Finnegan, the Sony Auto Sound Commodore. It's an old VP model car, Sydney privateer, doesn't do it on a lot of bucks, but when he does turn up at the racetrack, he's always got the car well turned out, and he is giving Larry Perkins a run for his money here. We're aboard the Bathurst winner, Larry Perkins, having a lot of trouble getting past this Sydney privateer. Really closes up on the back of the car this time. A major go down the inside. It looks like he's got him. So great competitive run from Terry Finnegan, who slips back to 8th position. Craig Lowndes well in control. He's opened that gap with Bow's spin up to 8.3 seconds and opening up all the time. This must be great for Holden Racing Team. You know, 6 years now in existence. Australian Touring Car Championship results haven't been that thick on the ground, Brad.
No, that's true. HRT is seen by a lot of the other competitors in pit lane as being the Ferrari of touring car racing in Australia, and I hope they can get a bit of a result here to kick them on and have a great season. He's certainly got a good gap over Seaton, and Seaton's certainly pedalling as hard as he can, but he's just really not running as hard as Craig.
Look at those lap times. Fastest lap, of course, was Lowndes 60.97. Now running in the 3. Seaton just done a 62.1. There's Mark Larkham in the Mitre 10 Ford in trouble again.
Certainly not his day today.
Oh, he's having a tough time. Came into the touring car category last year and really had a very difficult debut season. And his second championship not starting off as well. More, in fact, spoiler damage on the front of the Mitre 10 Ford. I think he lost one in the first heat.
Yeah.
This is number 2. Dick Johnson closing on Russell Ingall. Johnson currently in 6th position. Ingall in 5th. And there's John Bow recovering from that spin. He's got right back on the rear bumper of the Boss. And he'll be looking to try and pick his way through. Think Dick Johnson will give him a hand, Brett?
I think I can almost guarantee you that the Boss won't be waving him by. Now he'll have to fight for every inch of the road, but this looks like being quite a dice here.
Dunlop Race Cam takes the board. There's John Trimble in trouble. That's the new Sahara Desert down the end of turn 1 there. After Mark Scape's horrific crash there beginning of last season, they've put in some terrific safety measures down at turn 1. We take Dunlop Race Cam again with Johnson. He's right up behind Russell Ingall. Very impressive opening touring car championship round from Russell Ingall.
There's nothing here in straight line speed. You notice Ingall just give the brakes a touch here. Just a bit of a security touch with the left foot just to make sure that you still have got brakes before you jump on them. And there's really nothing between these two cars in a straight line.
I guess this turn 2 is just so critical to your lap speed. That's why maybe people have been spinning off there, because they really give it everything.
And it's really one of the very few places you can pass on this new circuit. So you've really got to try so hard there. And as you said, that's one of the reasons that you just go off.
Mark Scaife and Peter Brock in deep discussion there.
You think they're talking about Glenn Seaton?
I'd say there's a fair chance of that, Brett.
Very good one.
Stephen Richards, meanwhile, comes into the pits, car 32, the Valvoline Cummins Commodore. By the wide girth he's taking there, he's turning into pit lane.
Very disappointing for Stephen. He's a great little competitor. Everything he turns his hand to, he does very, very well at. It's great to see Cummins and Valvoline get behind him and get him in a V8. I'm sure in time he's going to be a front runner, no doubt about that.
5.5 laps to go for Craig Lowndes, our race leader. He hasn't put a foot wrong. And Glenn Seaton in trouble too, car 30.
Look at the front spoiler, he's torn that off.
He's bitten the dust. We did see some body damage on the car from the beginning of the race. He's going very, very slowly.
Look at the wheel. He's got a flat tyre. He's punctured a tyre.
Now, of course, that'll be great for the Coke team. That will move Neil Crompton up to 2nd position. So, it looks like some pretty bad damage under there, Brad.
Certainly is. There's things hanging off it everywhere. He's just going to try and get back to the pits. It's a very difficult thing when you're in the car. You don't realise how much damage is underneath the car or to the side of it. So you just try and get it back there. You keep your eye on the gauges.
Oh, man, keeping your eye on the action. Look at this. Dick Johnson's getting very, very serious about Russell Engel, as Dunlop Race Cam shows you. Has a look on the outside. He's made up that little bit of real estate that Engel had on him on the last couple of laps, right up behind the wing of the Castrol Commodore. Let's see if he goes for the big move to turn 2. Gee, Dick's really pumped up here.
Just can't quite do it. They're so close, aren't they? It's the performance of these two cars. Dick's obviously getting out of there a little bit better, as Russell is now well aware of.
Sounded like it was right off the gas, waiting for Engel's car to get in a straight line. Up to 190 kilometres an hour. Hard brake right on the right hand side of the circuit. Turn across through this difficult part.
You watch the back of Engel's car as he's coming out of the corners and it's sliding around. His tyres are probably just got that greasy feel about him at this point in time.
Slow car there. Greg Crick. Alcare Commodore. Greg Crick slowing down. 4 laps to go.
Puncher as well.
Oh, puncture tyre. So Glenn Seaton not the only man with damaged rubber.
Same side too.
Yeah. Neil Crompton holds down second position. 3 laps to go, but there's Alan Jones closing up in his rearview mirror. Great start from the pack leader racing team. First time out in these Stone Brothers Mill Falcons. And Jones has got the lights on. I reckon he'd have the eyes on too, Brett.
He certainly would. You know when they've got the lights on, the heads down, that they mean business. And Jonesy would be chasing a result. He'd, it's a great job the Stones have done with this car. Bridgestone tyres. His car's looking pretty good on the circuit, but must say so's the Coke car. Their times are very similar. Jones is just a touch faster. Oh, here's a bit of action.
John Bowles got in front of the boss. As Dunlop Race Cam shows you, Bow there will set off in pursuit of Engel. But these two shell cars running as a duo really haven't made that much of an impression, have they? Neil Crompton in second position. And boy, if he can bring this one home, that'll put him on the front row for the final heat under lights. But gee, he's going to have to fight for this every inch of the way. Alan Jones closing in on the bumper of the Coke Commodore. 2 laps to go. No shortage of horsepower either from the pack leader Ford.
No, the cars are definitely strong. And Jones is just a couple of tenths faster than Crompton. So it's going to be an interesting couple of laps. So he's gone down the inside.
Talk about interesting. There's going to be fisticuffs. Yeah, they're going to touch it. Jones goes round. Oh dear, oh dear. There's all sorts of damage to the bodywork of this brand new Falcon. He won't like that.
Well, that could have very nearly ended in big tears. And Jonesy's got a problem now. He can't go. There's gravel out the front there, and he's just not too sure whether to go through it or not. Here we go.
And again on the replay. Pack leader.
Watch the rear brakes lock.
And he's lost it. Crompton. You can see the flame out there. He's off the throttle, just turning the front end. He managed to survive. But Jones now lost that third position.
Very easy mistake to make. They've run down the inside into that corner, and Crompton's just held his ground, and Jonesy's going just a bit too fast. Here's our leader.
There's our race leader, Craig Lowndes, on his final lap. 10.6 seconds, the gap over Neil Crompton. He's absolutely streeting it here.
And the truth of the matter is he's really looking after his tyres. You know, it's a great win. He's having a bit of look up now to see if he can see second, which he can't. And, the mobile car is doing a fantastic job.
Well, he said to me yesterday it was just so important for him to get out there, get consistent fast laps in and start winning motor races. And boy, this is a pretty good start to the season for Craig Lowndes. Russell Engel will, of course, move up to third position after Jones' spin. Lights on, like cat's eyes almost. The red lenses on the HRT Commodore. And Lowndes is just absolutely on his own. Daylight in second. As he swings it back onto pit straight for the final time. The grandstand have been right behind this youngster. 21-year-old Holden hero, and the guy who looks like he's got a huge career ahead of him. Onto pit straight for the final time. The grandstand stand and cheer as Craig Lowndes brings it across the line. Fist out of the window in jubilation and takes victory in Heat 2, Round 1 of the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship. A great win. Fantastic result there for Craig Lowndes in the mobile HRT Commodore. Neil Crompton, good result there too for the Sydney team. Russell Engel in third position. John Bow fighting back from that spin into fourth. And Dickie Johnson with a new engine on board made it into the top 5.
Craig Lowndes, heat number 1, you were almost there. Heat 2, you took the checker.
Yeah, the first heat we managed to get up to second, which put us on the front row, and that start of that second heat was a fantastic start for me. Best one to date, and hopefully I can prove another one again this afternoon, because we've still got one race to go. We can't sort of start popping the champagne yet.
Well, Craig Lowndes has every reason to be smiling, but this man has every reason not to be. Peter Brock, his teammate. You can see that damaged car getting pulled onto the truck. Let's check out the points. And Craig Lowndes, it is, in fact, leading the points at this stage with 1 heat to go on 36 points. John Bowe right behind him on 32. Neil Crompton now moves up the ladder, 22 points. Russell Engel on 16. And Glenn Seaton in the Ford Credit car on 14 points with 1 heat to go. And talk about battle damage. Look at that. Mark Scaife, brand new Commodore, and they will not be happy chappies. We're going to a break. Back with more action from the creek in just a moment. To Sydney's Eastern Creek Raceway on this scorching hot summer day. We've got plenty of action to come in the Slick 50 Motorcraft Formula Ford Series. Jason Bargwanna on pole position, the Australian-built Spectrum, 106.50. John Blanchard alongside in the AMSA Van Diemen, 106.51. Row 2, Icky Harrington in the brand new RF96 Van Diemen, and Darren Pate alongside him. Row 3 is Marcus Ambrose, the young Tasmanian. Todd Kelly alongside in the North Star Mildura Van Diemen. Row 4 with Richard Fowler and David Bernard in the Valvoline Van Diemen. Row 5, Paul Stevenson, and rounding out the 10, Cameron Partington. Less than 5 seconds now to the start of the Ford Motorsport Slick 50 Formula Ford Championship. Away they go, Jason Bargwanna, tremendous start from the pole man. He's got John Blanchard moving across into second position. 38 cars trying to squeeze through turn 1 at Eastern Creek. Here they come, a gaggle of them. Wheel to wheel, side by side as they shuffle down toward turn 2. I think it'll be Jason Bargwanna, yes indeed, and the Aussie-built Spectrum chassis leading the field up to turn 2, and a great start there by Besnard. He comes flying up the inside. There's one off on the grass. One of the AMSA cars, I think it is. I think that's car 49. Bargwanna gets a little break there as they head back toward the twisty part of the circuit for the first time. Bradley, that start pretty critical to Bargwanna.
Oh, in these sort of cars it is very critical. He'd be quite happy now. He's got a little bit of a buffer there. He'll be checking the mirrors. Sure, it's very early on in the race, but he's in the best spot.
Well, I'm sure he tried to do some sums before. It was the last time an Australian-built car started off a front row pole position, in fact, for a Formula Ford race. Tremendous effort by Jason Bargwanna in this new 96 Spectrum. Oh, there's another one out of shape. He's spinning right around through the shell sign. That's number 13, Darren Pate, and the AMSA Van Diemen. Oh, they're all over the place here.
He'll be very disappointed. As you can see from the slipstreaming here, there's everything in it. They've got to get into this corner quickly. We look in a race cam now.
Slick 50 race cam aboard Jason Bargwanna Spectrum. That car is looking very shaky. Bradley is slipping and sliding all over the road. Could he have a tyre problem this early in the race?
Well, just possibly hasn't got quite enough heat into his tyres, but he's definitely in trouble. Every corner we get to, the car drifts a little wider, he runs out of room, and he'd be not a happy camper. He'd just be trying to retain his composure and press on a bit.
Icky Harrington takes the lead. Boy, oh boy, a real mix-up in that first time around. Only 2.8 kilometres, but absolutely packed with action. Icky Harrington in the brand new RF96 Van Diemen all the way from England as he leads the pack around. Back toward turn 5 and 6. We take Slick 50 race cam again with Jason Bargwanna, as Bradley said. He's been shuffled right down through the pack. I think he's running in 5th position now. Oh, look at the one in front, car 50. Marcus Ambrose, the young Tasmanian, getting a little bit out of shape as they try and get it back onto the main straight once again. Brilliant pictures from Sevens race cam. This man in 3rd position making a big move here, 15. Only 16 years of age, Todd Kelly. A baptism of fire at Eastern Creek here today. Gets shuffled across. And Harrington down the inside, really muscling Fowler. Fabulous action from the Formula Fords in these opening laps of this 12-lap screamer at Eastern Creek this afternoon.
Oh, there's a bit of action, a bit of late braking there.
You must have to leave believe you're braking to the absolute last minute of that corner, Brad. I guess it's so critical.
Exactly right, and that's one of the few places you can get a passing opportunity.
We take Slick 50 race cam. Let's look at what happened that time onto Main Straight, I think it was. So looking from the front of Jason Bargwanna's Spectrum, you can see that car up ahead getting right out of shape. It was Bernard, yeah. Managed to hold it straight, but he lost enough speed to allow Bargwanna to shoot past. This 57, he's in trouble too. Gets it started again, Christopher Dell. Meanwhile, Fowler still in control. 5 laps to go. Harrington goes for a different run to the outside.
Big move around the outside, very well executed.
Stevenson in 3rd position, car 14. So Fowler gets shuffled back to 2nd position. Great move from Harrington there.
Fowler would be wondering what he did wrong then. It was a nice run down the straight. Harrington hadn't been able to get by him for the last 2 or 3 laps. He thought he had everything in control. Moved over to the inside to block the move, and Harrington just slid straight around the outside into the lead.
There's one in trouble there, 91-2. Boy, oh boy, they're really tasting the dust today. And not overlet yet by a long shot. Look at Bargwanna, big brave move. Round the outside of Bernard, is it? So Bargwanna, great move. He's up to 4th position. Bernard comes back on the attack, gets a little bit sideways as they come through turn 2. Bargwanna, very aggressive. That's a pretty brave move out there, Brad.
That is a great move. These two are real championship contenders. You know, they're the hot tip. The Spectrum, everyone's expected a lot of that over the last couple of years, and he's got a great chance now. I see Bernard's bit of damage at the front there. Bargwanna is driving that car very hard, and that's a problem with Formula Fords. When you overdrive them, you go slow.
Look at Bernard, he's taken advantage. Bargwanna would have lost a bit of speed that time. Gives a big wave of the fish, chucks the tail of the car into the path of Bargwanna's car to say, here, taste a bit of that, mate.
Not a happy camper.
No, Bargwanna, very aggressive move. He's got to do it all again this time around as they come on to pit straight. 2 laps to go of this 2.8 kilometre shortened Eastern Creek circuit. Here's the battle for the top positions. It's Icky Harrington in 1st, Fowler in 2nd, Paul Stevenson in 3rd. That's the battle. 2 laps remaining, and they've been going at it hammer and tongs for the whole race distance. Can you pick a winner out of this far out, Brad?
I wouldn't like to try. I think my money's probably on Harrington. It's always nice to be out the front, but you can see their tyres are starting to work very hard. The cars are ducking and diving around a little bit, and it doesn't take much to put them offline.
So we go back with Slick 50 race cam aboard Jason Bargwanna's Spectrum. Started off pole position, finding his way back. He's still in 4th position, having this great scrap with Stevenson, but he hasn't been able to do anything about Bernard, who's just in front of him. Swapping positions all over the place. He makes a big run here. Got a good run out of the switchback. Very close behind Bernard. Look at Bernard's car, all out of shape as he turns into 5. Now turns into turn 6. Critical run this down pit straight for the final time. Bargwanna, you can hear him really working that car hard, Bradley Jones.
Well, the thing about these cars is coming onto the straight, it's so important to carry speed. And as you can see, David's trying to get him out of the slipstream. He goes for the pass move there. David's car's just got a little tiny bit oversteer, and you see the back of the car sliding out. And we got a new leader again.
Just as we took that race cam shot, it was indeed last lap desperate by Fowler. Shuffled through on Harrington. Harrington's going to be kicking himself. His opportunities to repass are getting pretty limited now. Last lap around, not a lot of overtaking opportunities. He's going to be relying on, I guess, pushing Fowler into making an error.
I could pick a new winner here. Would that be okay?
Not yet, Brad, not yet. So back through the switchback for the final time. It's Fowler in control. Harrington right up his exhaust pipe. Still got Stevenson in 3rd position. Hasn't been able to do too much about it. And look at this big run up the inside by Fowler. They go side by side up toward turn 5. Fowler's got him.
Lap cars, they always get in the way, and when you're in 2nd, you look for them and hope that they appear very quickly, and when you're in the lead, you just hope they pull off the side of the circuit. But
well, he took a big advantage there. Big launch for the Trade Link team in Sydney, and boy, haven't they got their season off to a great start in 96. It's Fowler in control. Harrington's not going to be able to do anything about him. Stevenson will be in 3rd position as they come across the start-finish line. Great finish for Richard Fowler. Harrington in 2nd position, and Paul Stevenson in 3rd. Let's check out the way they finished in that exciting Formula Ford scrap. Richard Fowler, of course, in 1st position. Icky Harrington in 2nd. Paul Stevenson in 3rd in the Ryco Fielders Van Diemen. Jason Bargwanna climbed back to 4th, and David Bernard rounded out the 5.
Welcome back to Eastern Creek. Motorsport mayhem under the moon. Lights are ablaze here, and just as well, because mayhem will be the right word when the HQ Holdens take to the track.
For their 10-lap journey from row 1 is Peter Dane and Michael Simpson. Row 2, David Doherty and Bob Hepburn. In row 3, car 41, Charles DeQuino and Jason Tilley alongside him. Row 4 is Gregory King and car number 14, Graham Apolloni. Rounding out your top 10, Greg King in car number 1, Stephen Coulter in car 7.
Lights ablaze on a field of 40-plus relics from the wreckers yard, the HQ Holdens.
And they're away. Car number 76 from the outside got the good jump, as did number 2, Peter Dane. But I think you'll find it's Bobby Hepburn, a veteran of the class. Car number 44 as the troop go into turn number 1. Gary, something we haven't seen at Eastern Creek. The guys under lights, and the HQs are going to have a lot of fun.
And car number 1, Greg King getting the short back and sides. They're going through the first turn. The guys on the front row of the grid, first 2 rows of the grid, certainly got the start here.
And it's Peter Dane, the race leader. A group of about 5, and a smoke screen in the middle of the night will make things rather difficult to see as this 43 cars, 43 HQ Holdens try to make their way round over the flip-flop. It's the race leader Dane, the first to negotiate that. The first 6 or 7 have broken away nicely, and the track, Gary, extremely well lit up.
Fantastic under lights here at Eastern Creek, and so it ought to be too, because this is not fun out there with a full field of 43, although we've had a couple of dropouts and a couple of tail-end Charlies already, but no trouble for Peter Dane, who's speared off the front row and has established himself a commanding lead, even at this stage, in front of Bob Hepburn.
Bob Hepburn and Charles DeQuino, a very hot third. DeQuino following Hepburn down the main straightaway. As I said, the first 6 or 7 have broken nicely from the field, and a huge crowd on hand here at Eastern Creek to witness the action under lights for the very first time. Hepburn selecting the outside line going into turn number 1, and you can hear the screech of these standard radial tyres.
The guys put so much time into restoring and getting these cars up to race speed and then maintaining them through the season. They are so evenly matched that it does often, as long as the car is mechanically sound, come down to driver ability, and they're a very evenly matched bunch.
Tilley, Hogan and Coulter, along with Leslie Johnson, involved in the battle on screen at the moment.
That's Johnson there, car 26. Car 7 also in there.
Oh, we have a moment.
Oh!
Len Cave off the racing track proper. Everything A-OK. In the relic from the wrecker, I think you called it, Gary.
The relic from the wrecker's yard, pal. That's where they pick up a lot of these shells, and then, as I said, spend a lot of money and a lot of time getting them onto the racetrack.
That they certainly do, and we've got a great battle at the moment.
Yeah, this is closed right up, hasn't it? This is good.
Giant freight train. There is our race leader, Peter Dane, for Precision Engineering, car number 2. He started from pole position and really has not looked back. He comes down the main straightaway. We have 4 to go as the leader crosses the strike. Second place still is held by Bobby Hepburn. David Doherty rounds out your top 3. There's Hepburn in 44. The challenge remains. DeQuino in 41 is all of a sudden back in the race. And looking on the outside, fortune will favour the brave. And who is it going to favour here? Hepburn in the pink 44. DeQuino in 41.
There's Doherty right behind them. These 3 really are trying to knock each other down in a bid to try and close the gap on Peter Dane.
And Hepburn has gone from 2nd to 4th in one foul swoop. He'll be an unhappy camper the remaining 3.5 laps of this one.
One fell swoop or one foul swoop?
Foul swoop.
One of I think one of both.
More dust up ahead. Vision not what these guys are used to. certainly different circumstances. No doubt enjoying immensely. Once again up onto the main straightaway as they prepare to hit top gear.
Car 73's gone off, and that's Paul Butler. Wasn't engaged in that major action in centre field, but has come to a complete stop off of the infield, out of harm's way. Charles D'Aquino was running second, but he's had a lot of fender damage there as they come out of the corner and has been shunted back to 4th or 5th position now.
There's Bob Hepburn on the inside. David Doherty was also a part of that. But I think in fairness to Doherty, it was Aquino himself who went wide on the apex. And there's Doherty, a victim of circumstance, one may say.
Well, that's changed the positions at the head of the field completely. Now Peter Dane still the race leader.
Car number 19, Anthony Chrisis. Not sure if he's signalling to the drivers he's stopped or he's giving the 7 Sport cameras a wave. He too, an early casualty.
Well, he's a late casualty because there's only 1 lap left and he's not going to get back into the fray now. Peter Dane on screen, vastly experienced driver, been around for a lot of years and just having a ton of fun in the HQ. Oh, so was he. That's another one of our Greg Kings. Peter Dane is just having a ton of fun, really enjoying his motorsport. The car is in pristine condition, running perfectly, bolted off the front row of the grid and has made every post a winner since.
Certainly has. He was fastest in qualifying here throughout the last day and a half. And Dane has really dictated the pace of this one. No one has got within a bull's roar. There you can see the gap back to Bob Hepburn in second. And it is quite a gap at that. Hepburn under siege at the moment, and it's Watmore in car number 36, the man that is throwing out the gauntlet, so to speak.
What more could you ask for? The competition's just fallen by the wayside, and John's found himself in 3rd place. We started with 43, we've lost a dozen or more.
They always provide plenty of entertainment. Tonight has been no exception. This is the last couple of corners for Bob Hepburn, currently in second. There is our race leader and no doubt race winner. He started from pole position. He's flashing the lights and the crowd here goes up as one. Peter Dane collects the checkered flag. The battle for second, Hepburn by the narrowest of margins, Watmore and O'Rourke.
Let's confirm it for you on the Shell race score. The HQs have gone to Peter Dane, 2nd place Bob Hepburn, 3rd John Watmore, Peter Rourke finished 4th and Jason Tilley rounds out the 5.
There it is, beautiful Sydney town in all its glory at night under lights. The CBD of Sydney, and it's well and truly dark in the New South Wales capital right at the moment. Here we are on the grid, and there's the floodlights in their
full glory as well, lighting up the grid for this final Heat 3 of the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship from Eastern Creek. Fantastic sight there. Craig Lowndes will lead them away this time from that victory in Heat 2 with Neil Crompton in the Coca-Cola Commodore alongside him. Russell Ingle in the Castrol Commodore will start out of row 2 with John Bow alongside the Castrol Holden. Dick Johnson behind them with Wayne Gardner alongside car 17. Row 4, Tony Longhurst in the Castrol Falcon with Larry Perkins in the Castrol Holden alongside him. Rounding out the 10, Paul Romano moving up through the pack in the pack leader racing Falcon EF, and Terry Finnegan in the Sony Autosound Commodore.
The V8 Brigade ready to blast in the dark. This is heat number 3 on tonight's program. Lowndes and Crompton share the honours. Who will it be as they rocket into turn number 1? It's the kid again with the whole shot. Heading down a blaze of lights, Crompton has not given an inch on the outside, looking for some racing room. Glenn Seaton making his way through the field, but once again it is Lowndes from Crompton. The other Coca-Cola car of Wayne Gardner up there. The 2 Shell cars, Johnson and Bow. Russell Ingle in the Castrol entry.
Come back through the back part of the circuit, looking magnificent under lights here, Eastern Creek. Peter Brock and Mark Scaife's cars, both too badly damaged to continue in the 3rd heat, unfortunately. So Lowndes alone to fight. The Holden Racing team at the front of the field. They come up through the switchback. What sort of a challenge does this present to the drivers driving at night, Bradley? Any difference?
It should be a lot better for them, really. It'll be a little bit cooler, won't be so hard on the tyres. Maybe the Bridgestone guys might have to work a little harder earlier to get the heat into their tyres, but as you can see from the job Craig's doing, it's not really a problem.
Craig Lowndes leads them down the main straightaway for the first time in this one. Yet another good start from Neil Crompton as the crowd goes nuts. They're really warming to Craig Lowndes. Russell Ingall, Mark Osler, has been one of the stars of the program, up into third place.
Really has been outstanding. Guy very strong in European Formula 4. And now can the inside. Comes Wayne Gardner, fighting back from that black flag in the second heat. He's really pumped up. I know he was on fire in the pits a few minutes ago, so we really want to get a good result out of this final heat. Up behind his teammate Neil Crompton. Ingall shuffled back one position to fourth. As we take Racecam aboard Dick Johnson's car, Dunlop Racecam, in behind Russell Ingall. You can just see how busy they're working across this twisty part of the circuit.
You can also get a feel of how well lit Eastern Creek is tonight. A few of the drivers had some reservations before tonight's action. It is extremely well lit, and the guys enjoying themselves out there on the track. Russell Ingall, the pressure is on the Castrol pilot now. Dick Johnson right behind. John Bow a place further back.
Well, it's been a great fight back from Dick Johnson. Had an engine problem in the first heat, had to change engine, started from the rear of the second heat, fought his way up on the grid for the start of this third, and he's really on fire here tonight. FAI 17, Johnson running in fifth position, right behind Ingall, with Gardner, Crompton and Lowndes ahead of him.
Both Gardner and Johnson this afternoon and tonight have not had the ideal run. Gardner, of course, was black flag and had a stop-go penalty in heat number 2. Johnson pitted early in heat number 1. So for these two guys to fight back in the vein they have has just been absolutely outstanding. There you have Wayne Gardner, hot on the heels of his co-driver and team partner, Neil Crompton. Is there going to be team orders here, Brad Jones?
Well, at the moment, Gardner's going a little bit faster than Neil, so I'm not sure. I don't think so. They certainly out there fighting for, every part of the circuit between themselves, but Crompton won't want to hold Gardner up, and he's looking pretty good in the championship. He's got a nice points position, so we'll just watch for a couple of laps.
Glenn Seton will really be on fire too, Bradley Jones. He's starting on a new set of tyres in this second heat. He's up to 11th already. So watch the Ford Credit Falcon as these laps unfold.
And he's, doing the same sort of pace as the couple of cars we're looking at now.
Ooh.
It's interesting here. Gardner has a different driving style. We were talking about a little bit earlier, but what tends to happen is when you come into a corner, he angles off and brakes as he comes down. Then we've got Bow at the back of this pack. He'd be pretty desperate to get through here, Mark.
Like at the moment, the two Shell Fords on the charge. John Bow said he really has used up his tyres. He had to pick out of those 8 tyres he had available for the 3 heats, try and pick the best 4, and he didn't seem to have much of a selection on his plate.
Did he say it was something like picking the lesser of the two evils? I think I heard him quote. And Bow, as Mark and Bradley have both pointed out, desperate to get past both the team boss and Russell Ingall.
Russell Ingall, of course, making his debut with Larry Perkins. Bathurst last year, first time with Larry, first time they win the race from almost a 1-lap deficit. An incredible run for Russell, and he's really showing that form is no fluke as Bow sneaks through on the inside of Johnson. Well, if he's running out of rubber, he's certainly got a bit left at the moment.
Very nice move.
Was that being kind on the boss's part, do you think, Bradley?
Probably slightly. I mean, he certainly doesn't want to see his 2 cars in the wall, but no, I think Dick doesn't sort of cut John too much slack, especially the first round of the championship. Every driver is out there to win. Now here they go to the Coke cars.
Well, that's Gardner sneaking through on the outside. I think Neil opened the door there, perhaps.
Yeah, I certainly don't think Neil slipped a gear.
So all these Dunlop guys running in the 62, mid-62 second bracket. Lowndes, fastest lap so far, 62 dead. He's just fired off a 2-2. So he's really got about half a second on these guys at the moment, opening the gap all the time. 2.8 seconds that time around. 5 laps completed.
Glenn Seton breathing fire in his Ford Credit Ford. As Mark alluded to early, he started well back in the field. There is one of the pack leader cars.
Paul Romano, Alan Jones' teammate. Just up there in 11th position, just outside the top 10. 22-year-old from Queensland, debuted in the V8 category in a Commodore last year, and now has changed this level one operation, and look at this as Glenn Seaton closes in right behind Alan Jones.
There could be a little bit of feeling here. Just a touch.
Well, they're both Falcons, they're both on Bridgestone tyres, and these guys are former teammates, so there will be a big notch you can carve in your gun, whoever comes out winner of this little scrap.
Glenn Seaton, many expected to be the force here at Eastern Creek. He's had a lot of success here in Sydney's outer west. And as we saw in heat number 2, things really haven't gone Glenn's way. He was forced to start from the rear of the field in this, the third heat. He's come through really well and now chasing Alan Jones, a slower car in the way. Both drivers managed to get round without a problem. And there is the freight train that heads down the main straight.
Quite literally the charge of the light brigade as they come down the main straight. It's still Lowndes in control. Gardner second. Crompton, Ingle in fourth. John Bowe, Dick Johnson, Tony Longhurst, Larry Perkins, Alan Jones, and Glenn Seaton climbing up into the top 10.
Well, Wayne Gardner has really stretched quite a gap on Neil Crompton, his co-driver. We saw Gardner pass Crompton a lap or so ago. Crompton has fallen to the clutches of Ingle, and here's John Bowe now having a look inside the Castrol car. Perhaps not the ideal spot to look for a pass. They will be nose to tail as they come out of the flip-flop.
Oh, Stephen Richards in trouble again.
The nightmare continues for Team Valvoline.
Seen him doing a bit of lawn mowing earlier on. He's back out on the grass again, back on the circuit fortunately, without too much damage, car 32. So this is the battle for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, Ingle, Bowe, Johnson, Tony Longhurst. Very spirited run from the Castrol Falcon 2 as we take Dunlop Race Cam aboard Dick Johnson's Ford as he's in this great battle. Flat out down the main straight, reaching speeds about 260 kilometres an hour before they brake for this daunting turn 1. Hook in hard here. Bradley Jones, it looks like it's a very physical circuit to drive Eastern Creek.
Very demanding circuit. It's very hard on the right front tyre, in actual fact. There goes John Bowe. Well, you know.
Oh, look at the damage to the front too. He's given the guy in front of serious.
He's given Ingle a bit of a tickle up there and unfortunately spun.
Well, he did say his tyres were going away from him. He didn't have much life left in him. Do you think that's just overcooking it on the rubber? Wayne Gardner, let's have a look at that on the replay. And he's, big damage to the front of the car there.
They run the brake balance in these cars so close. As you see from John's car there, it's a bit of a smack in the front, but just lock the rears, and they keep that so fine.
There is Dick Johnson, Team Boss, Shell FAI Racing. Tony Longhurst, this is the Battle of Queensland in progress now. Back down the main straightaway. Neil Crompton heading the tribe. Right behind him, Russell Ingle. And Ingle now starting to challenge. The big mover and big shaker on the track is Wayne Gardner, occupying position number 2.
It's just on a 61.75. That's 0.2 of a second faster than Craig Lowndes' quickest time in this third heat. So Gardner is really flying. There's our race leader. Craig Lowndes, 2.3 seconds the gap at the moment as he leads them through the dark. Let's check how they sit at the moment. Lowndes in charge. Wayne Gardner, as you said, on a real charge in second place. Neil Crompton in third. Russell Ingle in the Castrol Commodore in fourth. And Dick Johnson rounds out the 5. Don't go away. We'll be back with plenty more in just a moment.
Almost half distance in this final heat 3 of the Shell
Australian Touring Car Championship opener from Eastern Creek. This is Neil Crompton. Russell Ingle behind in the battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th. Wayne Gardner, the real charger in the pack. He's closed the gap to 2 seconds. Our race leader, Craig Lowndes, so we'll keep an eye on that.
There's Crompton in the number 7 Coca-Cola Commodore. And just when it looks as though Russell Ingle is about to pounce, Neil manages to find just that little bit extra to move out ahead. Dick Johnson behind Ingle, and there is Tony Longhurst in the Castrol Falcon EF. And Castrol, as we were stating earlier, a huge interest in touring cars this year. 3 cars painted up in the Castrol colours. Tony Longhurst, you could do a lot worse than find a guy like that to fly your flagship.
Last of the lightweight Ford shells in operation. Tony was well into building this car when they outlawed the lightweight Ford shell, so he's been allowed to continue with it. No weight advantage, of course. Has to ballast the car up to the new 1350 kilogram weight limit. And look at Glenn Seaton. Just talking about the Castrol Falcon. Seaton is really on a charge. He's right up behind Longhurst now in 7th position, leaving Perkins, Jones and Romano in his wake. So Seaton on a real flyer. Keep in mind, he's on fresh tyres.
Alan Jones, it looks like, could be struggling a little bit with tyres. He was nice and loose as they came over the flip-flop. Jones trailing Larry Perkins. Whoa, a moment for Glenn Seaton as we join him for race cam.
You see Seaton grab a huge armful of lock. It was almost 180 degrees, Brad Jones.
Well, he's certainly pedalling this thing as hard as he can. He's, Glenn's a very relaxed driver. You can see from the way he's sitting there, there's a bit of a glance around.
Mitre 10, 3 out of 3 for Marcus. He's knocked the lip off another Mitre 10 front spoiler. So he's not having the best of opening rounds for his championship this year.
Down the inside of Longhurst.
Just take on race cam as he sneaks down the inside of the Castrol Falcon. That'll move him up to 6th position. He really is flying.
There's your race leader, Craig Lowndes from Victoria.
The real news here, it's down to 0.9 of a second that time around. There is Gardner and the red and white Coca-Cola Commodore behind them. Could this be a situation, Brad, where the Dunlops are working better in these cooler temperatures?
Oh, I'd say this will be an interesting test for Craig. Gardner's certainly catching him. They've pulled a second out of him on that lap, so Craig's obviously had a little bit of trouble with traffic. And it'll be interesting to see how he puts up with the acid test.
So 8 laps to go. Look back through the top 10 here on the main straight. Just see Lowndes, Gardner and Crompton sneak through.
Quite a gaggle after Crompton.
There's Crompton there. Then we've got, I think it's Ingle, Johnson, Seaton, Longhurst, Jones. There's Larry Perkins in 9th position. And Paul Romano right behind him in 10th. Good run from Romano. Fair bit of pressure on the youngster's shoulders. And John Bowe, meanwhile, has come into pit lane. Here's his teammate Dick Johnson, locked in a big battle with Glenn Seaton. As we said, Seaton on a real charge right up behind Johnson in 5th position right now. There's Bowe. And a bit of battle damage there, Brett.
Not a good start to his championship year, really. I mean, it's going to be a tough battle from here.
Down go the curtains on the John Bowe pit. Not a good start for the year.
Glenn Seaton, meanwhile, continues the attack, pulls out of the draft behind the Shell 17 Falcon. Look at the amount of horsepower he's getting out of this Ford Credit Falcon as he sneaks down the inside of Dick Johnson's car, picks up another position. That's up to 4th. He's only got Crompton, Gardner and Lowndes ahead of him. He's really flying, Brad.
Fantastic job, really. His car's obviously handling very well. Glenn's cars have never been unbelievably strong. Oh, big move under Ingle there. A bit of a touch. But his car's working great. He's obviously got the good tyres on it, and he's marching towards the front. He's doing the same pace as the leaders. He's just got a bit of a traffic problem here.
Couldn't get closer than that at a turn 2. Braking from 190 kilometres an hour, turn across this difficult switchback. Ingle have his mirrors full of Ford Credit Ford here. They come back onto the circuit, up toward turn 5, turn 6. 14 laps completed this time around, 6 to go.
I can assure you Russell Ingle knows exactly every move Glenn Seaton is making at the moment. The two all but touched earlier on in this lap. Seaton, he did it to Johnson last lap. Can he out-drag Ingle as they head down the main straightaway?
See how much corner exit speed he had there, Brett. He's just taking yards off him.
Yeah, it's true. The car's not necessarily faster in a straight line, even though it looks like it here, but he's just getting out of the corner so much better and putting the power down and just driving straight by them. Looks like he's got another 100 horsepower on board.
So Seaton picks up another one. He's up to 3rd. Here comes Dick Johnson up the inside of Ingle. So all the positions changing here, and here comes Jones as well, Mr. Aggression. We saw him come off at turn 2 in heat 2, but he's managed to survive that time around. So Jones on a real charge here too. It's really getting tight at the front of the field with 5.5 laps to go.
A great battle mid-pack, and Russell Ingle unfortunately has lost 4 spots over the past 1.5 laps. Dick Johnson now under a lot of pressure. Alan Jones, the former World Formula One champion, starting to close in. A great debut for pack leader racing here tonight at Eastern Creek.
This is a great run from Dick Johnson too, very competitive here tonight. Got Alan Jones in his mirrors. He's getting attacked from both sides. Comes start across the start-finish line again. 15 laps completed for the leader, 5 to go. So it's Lowndes, 1.4 seconds in front of Gardner, Crompton, Seaton, Johnson, and Alan Jones in 6th position. Chasing hard, Tony Longhurst and Russell Ingle. Impressive debut from the youngster. drafted into the new Alan Jones pack leader racing team this year after just 1 year in the V8 categories. A privateer, he sneaks down the inside of Ingle. Ingle really is losing a bit of speed here.
I'd say he's really running out of tyres. I mean, he's had a great performance in the last race and just probably used the touch too much up. But Paul Romano's car was only finished Thursday afternoon. He's doing a great job and had a lot of promise last year, drove really well, and certainly right amongst it now. He's all over Tony.
Impressive debut from these Fords. Engines by Campbell Little, the former BMW factory engine tuner. Alan Jones, the Stone brothers, of course, joining in the partnership. He's got the best of people working for him. Bridgestone tyre contract and a Ford factory team as well. So he's set up his own touring car team. He's certainly done it the right way. And the car's looking very, very competitive in this opening round.
And Paul's doing a great job. He's not got too much pressure on him. He's sure he needs results, but he's doing a fantastic job. He must be very happy. Oh, that's a bit of a look down the inside of Tony.
He's really monstering Longhurst here. Romano's in 8th, Longhurst in 7th, and fighting fiercely. Romano up the inside. Looks like he's got him covered here under brakes. Very tidy manoeuvre from the 22-year-old. Son of Bap Romano, the former sports car racer from the 80s. And really showing all the skill his old man showed back in those days. Less than 2 laps to go now. Here's our race leader, Craig Lowndes. Under a bit of pressure this time from Wayne Gardner, who's been maintaining that gap. 2 seconds, 1.4 seconds as they hit traffic. Craig is driving this car very, very hard.
He is driving the car very hard, and he's doing a great job. Gardner's got the fastest lap of the race, and he's slowly reeling him in. But Craig hasn't lost his head. He's doing a very, very good job here.
So there's Gardner, 2nd position.
Having a go.
A serious go. His teammate Crompton still in 3rd position. About 10 seconds behind now. So these two sprinting away at the front. Glenn Seaton, of course, in 4th. Last lap comes up for Craig Lowndes. Gardner, the gap 2.5 that time around, so he hasn't been able to close the gap to Lowndes.
No, I think the start really is what killed it for Wayne. He took him a couple of laps to get by a few cars, and by then Craig had gone and it was all over. But great drive by Gardner. The Coke team have really shown that they're coming up with the goods. Here we're looking at Craig again. Looks like something's dragging on the ground off the Ashby car just in front of it there.
Yeah, Lansvale smash repairs. Looks like a bit of damage to the driver's door too. Something dragging, but here's Craig Lowndes. Less than half a lap to go in the Mobile Commodore. As he comes up just past the Lansvale smash repairs car, Steve Reed at the wheel this weekend, and Crompton. Boy, oh boy, has this guy got bad luck. Flat tyre. Spectacular puncture here as it flaps on the bodywork. He's going to try and bring it home, I imagine. But here's our race winner, Craig Lowndes, and I imagine he'll be the round winner. Across the start-finish line, Craig Lowndes, the grandstand, on their feet as the youngster wins 2 from 3 in his Australian Touring Car Championship debut. Honestly, you couldn't ask for more than that, Brett.
No, a great performance. HRT have had a bittersweet night. There's Crompton still limping around trying to get home. He couldn't believe his luck, I'm sure.
Well, he was running 3rd. Let's just hope he can get across the start-finish line and finish off the evening. Let's check out the way they finished on the Shell race score. Craig Lowndes, of course, 2 from 3, as we said. Wayne Gardner, a great 2nd place. Glenn Seaton really fighting back there for 3rd. Dick Johnson hanging on for 4th. And Alan Jones in the pack leader Racing Falcon rounded out the 5.
3 very exciting heats tonight in round number 1 of the 1996 Shell Australian Touring Car Championship. And 3rd place tonight to the 1995 champion. Congratulations, John Bowe.
Thanks, mate. It's funny to be up here when I didn't finish the last race, but I guess that's what it's all about, the consistency thing. I had a few problems in the last race. I was in more trouble than the early settlers, but my congratulations to Craig and Wayne. They did a tremendous job.
John, is there added pressure as being defending champion?
No, not really, but we've got a bit of work to do.
John, we wish you all the best. Congratulations. 2nd place tonight in the Coca-Cola Commodore, Mr. Wayne Gardner. Wayne, a very successful night for both yourself and Neil.
No, I think the team's really come of age now. You know, we've done our 2 years apprenticeship, and we've had some hard knocks along the way. But I think really, you know, we sort of made it to the top now, and hey, if we can keep these same sort of progress going towards the end of the year, and who knows, maybe we can even pull the championship. It'd be really nice, wouldn't it, Andy?
Nice racing, night racing at Eastern Creek. Did you enjoy?
I did, actually. I think it's been a great success. I think the formula of 3 races is really good, although I think this new 2 tyres for 3 races is a difficult thing to deal with. But I think it's been a real success. I think it's a lot of fun race tonight, and I think it's very, very entertaining for the spectators.
Certainly, no doubt you'll be up here with us again during the season. Congratulations. At this juncture, I would invite Ross Brodie, the motorsport manager for Shell, to present the winner's garland to the winner of round number 1, Mr. Craig Lowndes. Craig, a huge reception. You're the flavour of the month.
Oh, it's only the start of the year. Hopefully we can have a few more of these and make it the flavour at the end of the year.
A full-time gig with Mobile HRT.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. The guys have been very supportive. Obviously, no, it's not easy to put a young guy in a car, and the way they're priced at the moment, and then put him out in the racetrack with all these other guys. That's what makes it so special, being able to beat them. But, you know, you never know. It's only the start of the year. Come Sandown next weekend, we might be at the middle of the field. We don't know. Hopefully not.
You've got some old heads ready to jump on your backside.
I have so, yes.
Craig, we wish you all the best. Congratulations. Gary, a great night's racing. Let's have a look at the total points.
A jump start to the season for Craig Lowndes. 2 wins out of 3, 56 points. Wayne Gardner, 36. John Bowe, 32. Glenn Seaton, 28. And Dick Johnson, 22 points. And Brad Jones, he's promised a lot. He delivered tonight.
Fantastic job by Craig, but what we can be sure of is the series is wide open, and there could be many, many winners.
Highs and lows for the Holden team. Peter Brock.
Well, it's a bit sad for Brock, but at least they can bank on this win and look forward to Sandown next week.
Promising start to the season for the Coke team.
Well, they must be very, very happy with their results. I think could be their year.
Big night here tonight. Great success under lights at Eastern Creek. We line up next weekend for round 2 of the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship for 1996 at Sandown in Melbourne. Hope you can join us then for more great V8 action.
This has been a production of 7 Sports, the Olympic Network, bringing you the 1996 Games, the 1998 Winter Olympics at Nagano, Australia's sporting event of the century, the 2000 Sydney Olympics, 2002, the Winter Olympic Games from Salt Lake City, the 28th Olympiad Summer Games in 2004, the Winter Olympics of 2006, and in 2008, the Summer Games of the 29th Olympiad.